There are constant facility projects going on in Carolina athletics all the time. All the time, there's something happening. You will notice there's one facility you never hear about being changed in any form or fashion, and that is John Montgomery's office.
Yeah. Check it, Adam. There's a new nameplate on that office.
A slight renovation to that brass nameplate right on the outside.
Platinum, probably.
That's one upgrade. That is now Seth Reeves' office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, we were not permitted. I think there may be a retina scan on that now. So we were not allowed to do this interview in Seth's office.
Yeah.
We have been in there before, though.
Yeah, we have.
So Seth came to Podworld headquarters, which I understand is much smaller and doesn't have hardwoods or, shiny things around.
Chocolate fountain.
We're just doing the best we can. There's no one fanning us with palm fronds as we talk like you have in your normal daily life. But we do appreciate you coming by and seeing us.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Second, the two of you are always welcome upstairs. I'm right up there looking over at you guys already above you.
Looking down on you.
But I will say, you guys talk often about this office. I've heard this before. It's not the first time.
Yeah.
You're not slumming over here. You guys have done wonders with this space. And I think you ought to be very proud of what you guys are working with over here at the world headquarters.
All right. I don't even know where to start. When you found out that you were taking over for John, like, what goes through your mind? What just give us that experience? Because it's a huge job. Well, there have been 3 or 4 executive directors of all time now of the Rams club. So, I mean, this is a big position. Just kind of what went through your mind when all this was going on.
Yeah, I mean, pretty overwhelming. I think there are a number of factors there that kind of led to that feeling. One, this has been a process, right? So John has been just a phenomenal leader and mentor for me. Not just since I've been at the Rams Club. I've been at Carolina for 22 years. I've worked indirectly with John for much of that time, and then directly with him over the last almost 10. And he has been just tremendous. He's just a great leader, a great mentor, but also just a great friend and someone that I really look up to. So as he's transitioned and made this transition's been kind of in the works. It's been a process, right? That our executive board and our leadership have taken us through, and it's kind of started 3 or 4 years ago, really, and it's been really heated up over the last 6 months or so, and so it's been on a lot of people's minds for a long time, and so when that kind of became a reality a couple of months ago, it really sunk in a good way, right? So really excited. Couldn't be more excited about the opportunity. But, I think it's funny because folks have said to me, you hear all the time about you don't ever want to follow a legend, right? You don't want to follow Coach Smith. You don't want to follow, Phil Jackson with the Bulls. In some ways, you don't want to follow a legend like John Montgomery, right? But I would say that John has been so phenomenal with the Rams Club, the position he's put us in, this university, our organization, our staff. Man, it's great to follow someone like John Montgomery who's put so much effort and care into building what I believe is the best development office in college athletics.
As you've been on the job these last couple months in the new job, what's something you've come to realize about that position that you couldn't have known without doing it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think, part of that process, my role changed a couple of years ago, or about 1.5 years ago. And John really kind of started to lean on me for a lot of things that I'm doing now. And so I had a better sense of what I was walking into that I might otherwise have had or would have had. But I think you don't have a sense for just the volume of everything. I don't know if there's anything that surprised me. It's just the volume of it. And I think when you flip the switch, there's just, it happens quickly, but there's a lot of folks that are depending on you that you've got to step up to the plate for. And that's exciting because we've got great supporters and great staff that I'm just excited to work with every day in Chapel Hill and wherever we're at in the state or throughout the country.
I mean, this is a unique time in college athletics, and I think a unique time for your organization. How does the Rams Club fit in your mind in the current landscape of where we are with all the stuff we know, with NIL, with the house settlement, and with the transfer portal, just all of it? How does the Ram Club fit in that puzzle?
Well, I mean, listen, that's a great question, right? I think one of the things that we're doing, so the Rams Club's always been focused on long-term sustainability and support, long-term success for Carolina athletics. We're still focused on that. We still want to have our eye on the long-term success for Carolina athletics and putting this program in the best position to succeed, not just tomorrow, but for years. We don't want to lose that focus. I do think over the last several years, with all the change that's swirling around, we do realize that we have a responsibility to also provide the resources in the short term, maybe more so than we had in the past. There's short-term needs, and that we need to help our programs, our coaches, our leadership have access to the resources to be successful in the short term as well. So we've pivoted to continuing to focus on long-term, but also providing short-term resources. I think the other thing that we've done that's really important and that our supporters have really rallied behind, and folks have just been so gracious with their support on, is working to develop a more robust, unrestricted, flexible funding model. And so instead of, you mentioned this, Jones, with all these changes, right? I think there's no way that we can predict the future. At least it'd be very difficult. And so instead of trying to guess where all this is going, and maybe get it right, maybe not, what we're trying to do is provide more flexibility to our leadership and our coaches, and that's through things like the excellence funds that we created last year, and that provide more flexibility for whether it's Bubba or Steve, whether it's our coaches, to be able to adapt to the changes in college athletics and their programs in the industry, and be successful with resources that they can use in a variety of different ways.
Don't make a big deal about this, but Seth's on the cover of the new Born and Bred along with...
Watch out.
Now, I assume everyone listening to this has already received their copy because they are, of course, Rams Club members, because we tell them all the time that they should be. In the course of the conversation for that story, you said something that I thought was really important, because you said there have been a lot of changes in college sports. I'm aware of that, but there are also a lot of things that are still the same. What are some of those commonalities that remain the same that are connecting with the Rams Club members now?
Yeah, I actually think that's one of the most important things we can keep in mind right now. I think, and that's actually one of the things I think we're going to try to do a better job of, right? I mean, we've been good in this regard in the past, but we can always get better in terms of telling our story and sharing the impact that our donors and our supporters have on student athletes that come here and that compete at the highest level. But it's overwhelming, right? If you pay attention to the national meeting, you read every day about all the changes, man, it can get distracting quickly. And that's not just for our fans and our donors, that's for us too. So I think it's really helpful to kind of take a step back sometimes, take a deep breath, and just think, instead of thinking about all the things that are changing or have changed, man, there's a lot of things that haven't changed. And I think you think about first, from our perspective, scholarship support and how critical that is to our athletics program, giving these kids the opportunity to attend one of the nation's premier public institutions of higher education, right? And giving them the opportunity to not just attend, but to graduate and to change the trajectory of their life, right? That's why we exist. It's why we've always existed. That hasn't changed. And so I think it's important to think about that. I also think what we're focused on is giving those kids the opportunity to be here, and then allowing them to compete at the highest level of their sport, right? So whether that's on the court or in the pool, on the field, giving them the opportunity to compete at the highest level and creating the nation's premier intercollegiate athletic experience while they're here. Whether that's through facilities work or programming like leadership development, nutrition, mental health resources, whatever that is, that's building the best experience for them while they're here. That hasn't changed, right? That's been the case for years. It continues to be the case. And then I also think, we're really focused here at Carolina and with the Rams Club, and we feel convicted that it's a part of our role to give these kids the opportunity to impact the Carolina community. and make a positive impact on a really special community that supports them. And so continue to provide those opportunities and emphasize that with our student athletes. Again, that's been the case for years. That hasn't changed. There's a lot of things that haven't changed about what we're doing. We just get so hung up on some of the things that have changed and evolved over the last 3 or 4 years.
How do you make your donors, your supporters, whether it's $100 a year or $1 million a year, whatever it is?
Yeah, I'll call you later, Joe.
Yeah. They call me later for that one. How do you make them feel valued? Because I'm guessing there's a lot of phone calls with asks right now because it's necessary. So how do you try and make them feel valued as well?
Yeah, it's a great question. Something we think about all the time. I think you're right. We being conscious of the number of asks that are out there right now. I know that's not just unique to the Rams Club. I talk to peers throughout the country, and it's something that we're all weary of. I do think that we're very fortunate here in that athletics at Carolina is special. We take it very seriously. Our role, certainly with the Rams Club and with athletics, is it being the ultimate unifier and connector here with Carolina. There's nothing, I think Chancellor Roberts mentioned this recently somewhere. I don't know of anything else that connects folks that have come to school here, that are alums, that, work here, that connects those folks and connects this community the way athletics does. And so we take that very seriously. We also think about, one of the things that is evolving is how we engage with our donors differently. And, we don't have all the answers there. I think one of the things that's unique about here is that in general, our supporters and our donors really they want to be on the team. And so we think all the time about what's the best way to engage with them. Again, it evolves with technology, with game days, with everything else that changes. What's the best way for us to engage with them and bring them onto the team? Because clearly in college athletics, they are a part of the team. They're a crucial part of the team. We can't do what we do and have any level of success without the support of our donors. It's a critical part of the machine. And so we want them on our team. We need them on our team. And we think all the time about what the best way is to engage them and help them feel like they're a huge part of our team, which they are.
There's so many big numbers going around college sports right now. If I'm Johnny Tar Heel fan and I know that I cannot contribute those types of dollars, what's the place for me in the Rams Club? Does it still matter if I join at a level that's not the big numbers that are being thrown around? Does that make an impact?
Yeah. I think that's something we fight. Historically, Adam, I think we've fought that narrative that it's only the Rams Club's only for the folks that can give a lot of money, and that's really couldn't be farther from the truth. We are a membership-based organization. So we're a little over 22,000 members now. We're very proud of that. We've got to grow for us to be successful and to provide the resources that Bubba and Steve and our coaches need, especially here across 28 sports. We have to grow kind of at every end of the giving pyramid, right? So we have to grow at the folks at those levels that Jones mentioned earlier, right? We have to grow with the folks that are giving us $100. We have to grow with the folks that are giving us $1 million. And so at the end of the day, we're a membership-based organization, and it's really important for us to grow our base and to continue to give opportunities for Tar Heel fans, alums, folks that are part of this community, an opportunity to be on the team. Like I said before, whether that's $100 a year or whether that's $1 million a year. It's all important to us. We need it. We need every bit of every piece of help that anybody's willing to give us because of the needs that continue to rise and change and allows us flexibility like we talked about earlier. So, we have been and will continue to be a membership-based organization that's kind of counting on everybody from the Carolina community to help us.
This is probably a similar question. I think just by its nature of what it is, the Rams Club is going to be an older group. Like, right, you're just, most part, your constituents are older folks. How do you get younger? How can you make sure that you're reaching the 22-year-old or the 29-year-old or whatever that wants to find a way to get involved? Is that something you guys are thinking about? And if so, how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, we think about it all the time. It's kind of similar to Adam's question in terms of how do we grow our base. I can tell you that we've got, folks, the way our team is split up, we've got folks that are kind of focused on what we call major gifts, which is really just one-off gifts to different initiatives that we have in place. And then we have folks that are focused on our annual and kind of recurring giving. And so we have, we target different aspects of the Carolina community. And that includes folks like recent grads, students we've done different programs with. We're really proud that we've grown our recent grad kind of membership base and our student membership base immensely in the last several years. We're going to continue to invest in that. We think it's important. We want folks on the team, and whether that's folks that are, 12 or that's folks that are 92, it's all really important. And so, we're going to continue to focus on different aspects of the Carolina community, whether that's old, young, anywhere in between.
In my imagination, you get 1 million calls a day and go to 1 million meetings a day and constantly have people just stacking their problems up on your desk and saying, Seth, I need you to take care of this. What's the payoff for you? What do you like about this?
I mean, the best part of what I do is being a part of this, this special community that we talked about earlier. I mean, this place is special. I mean, Adam, it's you guys get to see this too as you travel and go to different games. You get exposed to different parts of the country and different universities, and we work with other, we collaborate and kind of share best practices with folks throughout the country. And man, every time I get off one of those calls or I get out of one of those professional development meetings, I feel so thankful to be at Carolina. What we do is really important to this community. It is athletics is important at Carolina. That really matters. That's fun to be a part of. But what we're doing for young people and providing these opportunities for kids, we truly are changing lives. And again, some of those things we talked about earlier, sometimes it's helpful to take a step back. I think for me, it's really helpful to take a step back sometimes and remind ourselves of why we're doing this in the first place. And we try to do that as a staff. And when I'm reminded of that, it just that's what's in it. I mean, I love being a part of that. I think it's important work that we're doing, and I love being a part of a community of people that care so much about Carolina athletics.
Is there a peer institution or a peer, the Rams Club equivalent at Clemson? Yeah, I'm just making some up. That you think does it well? That you say, they do this well as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of folks that do it well. The folks at Clemson do a great job. We know them well, and I think they're not the only ones, right? There's folks throughout the country that all do it well. I think one of the things that's interesting is that if you look through our industry, everybody's a little different. Everybody's got their own niche, their own strengths and weaknesses, how they need to attack growing resources for their program it's different. Not everybody can just roll out the same template and be as effective as the next group. And so where we have had to lean in is we're very philanthropic, right? We depend on philanthropy here to fuel our fundraising. And that's what is how our model is built. It's something that we rely on. And frankly, it's our supporters and our donors have responded to that. They want to be involved. They want to make a difference in young people's lives. And so, and they want to be on the team, right? And something that's important here. So that's how we've built our model. Not everybody's built that way, but that's because they've got a different scenario. And so everybody kind of builds their model and their business the way they need to. But yeah, there's a lot of people that do it well for them.
How do you find the courage and the confidence to take over something that is doing well and running smoothly and well, and say, I might have a couple things I want to change or a couple things I want to do differently?
Yeah, well, I think one, we work in evolving industry, one that is rapidly changing. And if we aren't willing to change and be adaptable, that's not going to be good for us or our programs. We've got to be willing to do that. And so I'm very fortunate to be stepping into this role at a time where, like I mentioned earlier, so much thanks is deserved by John Montgomery, because he has led this place for almost 25 years. And
quarter century.
Yeah, just about. I've reminded him that several times. He has been he's put so much care and intention behind building a great team, a great organization that is focused on the right things, that is built on culture and is customer service focused. It is rooted in relationships and philanthropy, which is exactly what we need to be. So much of this, is thanks to John Montgomery and the leadership he's provided us. But he'd be the first one to tell you that we need to continue to change and evolve. So I don't know that it's confidence as much as it's just knowing that that's what's necessary. And we can always get better. And there's a lot of things we can get better at. We're going to continue to focus on how do we improve on the things that we've done a good job with, but where can we also evolve and how can we adapt to what is needed to be successful in a new environment? So, I don't know that it's confidence as much as it's just understanding that's what's necessary.
What's number one on your list? Like, what is every day you wake up and think, all right, this is it. This is our number one thing we got to worry about today. Or maybe not worry about, it's not the right term.
Yeah. How can I get on the pod?
Yeah. Well, check that one off. So now what's number two on?
He's been wearing me out. I don't think I had to worry too much about how to get on the pod. So I don't know. I mentioned this earlier, and I just reiterate. It's just what I think about every day with us is everything we do is rooted in relationships. It's really the only way we know how to do this business. And when I say that, I mean certainly our relationships with our donors and our supporters. Those are paramount. We are rooted in authentic, genuine relationships with our supporters. That has got to be our focus every day. But it's not just that, right? It's relationships with Bubba and Steve and their staff. It's relationships with different units on campus, whether it's university development or Carolina alumni, and how we can work and collaborate, partner better, more efficiently with those different units. It's relationships, like we mentioned earlier, with other development offices throughout the country where we can share best practices and understand where we might be missing opportunities. But across the board, our business is built. A lot of people say, "I work in a people business. I work in a relationship business." No, we truly work in a relationship business. That is paramount to everything. So you ask what I think about every day. A lot of things, but all of it's rooted in how we can improve and be intentional with growing and developing better relationships with our constituents and key stakeholders.